Now, India assumed the G20 presidency in December last year. G20 coordinator described this moment as a mega national event, from solving supply chain disruptions to taking the digitalisation movement worldwide. Harsh Shringla, who is chief coordinator for India's G20 presidency in 2023, spoke to WION's principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibbal in an exclusive interview. Listen in.
How do you see the focus for New Delhi as the coordinator? If you can give a view about the focus area for India and what India plans to achieve under its presidency.
Well, first of all, Siddhant, thank you for having me on your show. When you talk about broad priorities of India's presidency, I think the Prime Minister did refer to them in his address at the Bali G20 summit, which was held in November last year. He essentially outlined that our priorities will include the areas of accelerated, inclusive and resilient growth. After all, growth and the need to stimulate growth is a great priority, not only in the G20, but also countries in the developing world. The world is undergoing, the pressures of inflation, supply chain disruptions, increasing, I would say, costs of fuel and fertilizers and food. The need to ensure that there is growth on a global basis is very important. And so one of our priorities that had been outlined by the Prime Minister has been to accelerate growth, but that growth should also be inclusive and it should be resilient. It should be growth that is sustainable and would last for a certain period of time. The other priority that was outlined was on the Sustainable Development Goals. As you know, we are in the middle of that process, and that is the process that the UN and the international community had endorsed. And these were areas that covered socio-economic development and important areas for any country. And in today's context, in the post-COVID era, as well as the current problems that are a result of the Ukraine conflict, clearly the impact on economies across the world have been quite severe. And so how does the world work together, the international community, under the auspices of the G20, come together to ensure that sustainable development goals are achieved and that the loss of momentum as a result of recent developments on the SDGs is addressed by the G20.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.